All right.
We say Eine Bakos. So if a person's eyes is in his cup, Arayas Kulan Domos Alav Kamishor. He's not concerned about committing a sexual averos. It's not just Arayas, but all prohibitions seem to him to be permitted. The Agabalev Yish Yashchena, worry in a person's heart. Amr Ravami Ravazi Chadam Yashchena Midaito. He should think about something else. It'll take his mind off his worries. By talking it out to other people, they'll give him advice. It's almost like a precursor to Freud, the talking cure. Like if someone's anxious, by talking it to somebody else, he'll relieve himself. The Nochash Offer Lachmo, the snake, has dirt for his bread. The snake, even if he tasted of the delicacies of the world, he still will always taste the taste of dirt. No matter what he eats, he won't be satiated unless he eats some sand. The meat of Hashem is not like the meat of a human being. A person has a fight with his friend. I mean, he fights him to the end. Yes, he cursed the snake that he should go always on his belly. There are positive aspects to it. He goes up to the roof, he has food there. Wherever he goes, there's food. Kilal is Canaan. He cursed Canaan that he would be the servant of everybody. Well, he never goes hungry. If his master has to eat, he has to eat. He cursed the woman. Everybody runs after the woman. He cursed the ground, and everyone gets his nourishment from the ground. The Jewish people complained. They remember the fish that they ate in Egypt. It was free. They were complaining about the man. Rav Shmuel Chadamar Dogi. They were referring to fish. The Chadamar Arayos. No, they weren't. They were referring to the fact that they were able to commit all sorts of sexual peccadillos in Mitzrayim. There was a lot of immorality there, and they missed that. And it wasn't prohibited for them at that time. All the various prohibitions of who they could live with, who could they marry, relations, none of that existed at the time of Mitzrayim, and they were complaining about it. Mandamar Dogim, Yichsiv Nochal. It says Asher Nochal the Mitzrayim, so that it appears as referring to fish. Mandamar Rayas Yichsiv Chinam. They wanted to live a free life. The word Chinam doesn't fit completely when it refers to fish, but it fits more about Arayas. The Mandamar Arayas Aksiv Noichal. The Mandamar who holds that it was referring to the fact that they remembered that they could commit Arayas. What is the word Noichal? Lishnamaya Nokar. It used a clean language. The word ochla as a euphemism for relations has been used before. What did it mean chinam when it came to fish? Because they didn't have to buy the fish; they got it from the river. When they went to the river to draw water, Hashem made it that small fish would appear in the water to nourish them. The one who says they remembered that they were eating fish has nothing to do with relations. That the pasuk in Shir Hashirim says that the Jewish people were like a closed garden. It was locked. That they were careful not to besmirch their virginity. Elman Damarai is my mayan chasum. What does it mean it was locked? Me'anat asir lo pritzubuhu. That means those things that they were permitted to do, they were permitted to do. They weren't forbidden everything. Those relations that were prohibited to them already even in Mitzrayim, that they were not porous, so they watched that. But now they cried about the new Eastern that were added, because even a Ben Noach, for example, a Ben Noach is also cannot live with his mother, his sister, his daughter. The new relations that were given to Klal Yisrael when they received the Torah were all the in-law relations. You can't live with your mother-in-law, you can't live with your daughter-in-law, your sister-in-law. All of those were new. That they didn't like, that they were crying about. When it says that Moshe heard them crying about family, what does it mean? They were crying about the new prohibitions that they have, that they can't marry in-laws. But the one who says that they were crying about the past, that they were able to eat fish, what kind of family crying is there? They were crying for the mun, that they didn't like it, and they were crying about the fact that they have prohibited arayas. They cried about both. The pasuk there by the man also says Esa Kishuim, the Esa Avatichim. They remember the pumpkins, the gourds, the watermelons. What was the problem with the man? Ravami Ravasi. Chadar tam kol aminim tamu b'man. Tam chamesh aminim alal lo tamu b'man. They would taste a lot of different tastes in the man. But the taste of the 5 grains, wheat, oats, rye, spelt, right? That they didn't taste. That all other tastes, they would taste it, and they would also sort of taste its consistency. The halal, the things that were mentioned in the Torah there, tam and v'lo mamashim, they tasted it, but they didn't taste the consistency. The pasuk says, "V'aman kezera gad lavan v'ta'amo." The gad is like the coriander seed, and it tasted like the seed, the gad seed, which was white. Haravasi, agol kigida. It was round like the coriander seed. The lavan kamargolis. It was like white like a pearl. Taina mehachi. God shadom lezer pishton begivol. It was like a flax seed. Acherim God shadom le'agada. Shemoshech eslibo shel adam kamayim. Like I guess like the Haggadah. I'm not sure what the Gemara means there. Like a good story that draws a person's heart like water. That's the Lashon God. And the Gemara explains, Tanya Gad Shemagila Yisrael, Ibn Tishel Rishon, Ibn Shiva Lachman. The man gave information. For example, person was pregnant, and then the husband dies, and she remarries. And we don't know if the pregnancy is 7 months, 9 months from the first, or now it's going to be from the second. The seventh, let's say she gives birth at 7 months after she remarries. Is it from the first husband or from the second husband? So the man fell based on how many people you had in your household. So by going and getting the man, it was Megid. It gave him information. Who was the child? Is the child belonging to the first husband? Child belonging to the second husband? Lavan Shemabin Avnei Shel Yisrael. The fact that it was called Lavan, the getting the man brought a lot of people to tshuva, and therefore they wiped away their sins. Just like a Navi would tell Klal Yisrael, what was wrong with them, even in hidden areas. The man would give the Klal Yisrael information. Ketzad. 2 Jews came to Moshe Rabbeinu to Beis Din. One says, listen, you stole my slave. The other says, no, what do you mean? I bought it from you. Let's see in the morning when the man falls. If they find the Omer Amon next to the first master, so we know that the other guy stole it. We see that it was sold authentically. So the man gave a lot of information. Husband and wife came to Bezdin. The husband claims she stepped out on him. No, he rebelled against me. If they found the man in the house of the husband, then she was at fault. If the man fell next to her father's house where she was, the husband was at fault. So when the dew would fall at night, the man fell on it. The Yatzah envelope 2, the people went out and gathered. Shatu envelope 2. Tzadikim Yorad al Pesach Matayim. The man also fell based on your status. If you were a tzaddik, it would fall outside your door. Beinonim Yotzu V'Loktu. The Beinonim, people in the middle, had to go out and hunt for it. Rishon Shatu, Rishon had to go a great distance. Ksiv Lechem or Ksiv Ugos. One place says bread, other place says cakes. Some other places they have to grind it. Cakes. And tzadikim lechem. For tzadikim, it fell as bread. Beinanim ugos. Ugos means they have to bake it. It was like parboiled. Like you can buy things like that. You have to still bake it at home. Rishonim tach the Berechaim. The Rishonim had to grind it and make flour out of it. Then it says oidachu bamdoicha. They grounded it. Amir Amarav, Yitem Rav Chama Rav Chanina. Melamed sheyarad lahem liyisrael imaman tachshite noshim. Walter would have been put out of business here, because along with the man, jewelry fell, women's jewelry. Davar shenidach bamdoicha, things that were manufactured like jewelry. Uvishlu bapor, they boiled it. Things that you put into the pot, pieces of dough to make it better. They may view Allah od nedava baboker baboker. My baboker baboker. I'm sure barachleir mavichim midavar shirad lehem baboker baboker. Melamid sheyard lo misrael vanim tovis margolis mamon. They brought precious jewels to the Mishkan as donations because precious jewels fell together with the man.
Margolius are pearls, I think.
Huh?
It's pearls.
Well, Margolius is pearls, but Avonim Toivos are also precious stones.
Precious stones.
Yep. When they went out to get the man, they found all these jewelry. They found all these stones there.
That's what happens every day by us. I get up in the morning, man min hashamayim, come down the jewels. It's the same thing. Well, that's why all the Jews are in that business.
Okay. The Nesiim brought the special stones for the Choshim. Tana Nesiim Mamish means the Nesiim. Nesiim Baruch Geshem Oy. Nesiim means the clouds. The clouds brought it. I'm not sure how the clouds brought it, but the clouds brought it. The taste of the man had some taste of oil. This is something that children would eat, and I guess like mother's milk. And the child, when he nourishes from the mother, he tastes whatever the mother has eaten. The mother, if some of that flavor goes into the milk. When the Jewish people ate the man, they also tasted different tastes. Shade is like a demon. Just like the demon can take multiple forms, same thing. The man could taste whatever. We were always taught it could taste like whatever you liked, you wanted it to taste. It could taste like that. Then he gave you meat at night. The Moshe Rabbeinu gave them a mechanism of your diet. That in general, people don't eat meat in the morning. You eat a piece of your bread and butter, and at night you had your meat. That's what the Gemara is going to say. They asked for basar in an inappropriate way. Then they had to gather it very difficultly. It was difficult to gather the slug. Since they asked, and basically you don't need meat to live. You need bread to live. They asked appropriately for bread. So nitalem koiken, it was given to them in the morning when it's very easy. You wake up, you go outside, you get your bread. In fact, people should eat meat at night. What do you mean? Abaya told us if you have a suda, you have to eat in the daytime when you can see what you're eating. So you got to eat it, as night falls. A chicken goes into the garbage dump and he eats whenever he wants to eat. He didn't order. You have breakfast, I have lunch, I have dinner. Moshe Rabbeinu established you should have a suda in boiker, uvayerev. You should have a suda in the morning. You have a suda in the evening. Then they were punished by the Slav. Habasar odenu bein shneihan. The meat was still between their teeth. Vayach Hashem ba'ama karabamo. They died right away. However, the other pasuk says ad chodesh yamim. Other people took 30 days to die. Haketzad. Beinonim la'alter mesu. The Beinonim died right away. The Rishonim had a lot of Yisurim for a month before they died. This is Vayishtechush lahem shatach. On Reish Lakish Atikru Vayishtechu el Vayishketu. The Lamed Shneschavu Sonem Sh'Yisrael Shchita. Klal Yisrael, because of this sin, were deserved of being shechted, of being killed, because they demanded this kind of meat. Shatach Tanam Shreya V'Shubin Atikru Shatach el Shachat. The Lamed Shirad Lam Yisrael Imamon Davar Sheton Shchita. That what came down with the man was these birds which needed shchita to eat. Amar Rabbi. What do you mean? I learned shchita from here. Vayam terliam ki afar she'er kachol hayam of kanav. V'tani Rabbi Yomer v'zavachta kasher tzivisicha. You have to do shchita. Malamed shnistav Moshe alav veshet v'lakone. That Moshe was told you have to cut the esophagus and the trachea. Al roiv echad ba'oif. You need the majority of one of the simonim by a bird. Val rov shtayim b'beim, and you need the majority of the simonim by an animal. So we already learned the din of shchita. Matam melomer shatoyach. Melamed shirad lehem mashtichin. Shatich is like a carpet. It means they were lined up in a straight row. It was when they landed. Ksiv lechem, ksiv shemen, ksiv dvash. Right? Sometimes it says lechem, sometimes it says shemen, sometimes it says dvash. On Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina, l'na'arim lechem. For the young people, bread, l'zakenim shemen, as it's easier, I guess they don't have teeth. Well, tinoikas dvash, and for the children, like honey. Ksiv shlav with a shin, the karinan slav with a sin. Arochanin tzadikim oitlim so beshalva with a shin, peace. Shem oitlim so v'davlam kisilvin. The Rishonim did not eat it beshalva, but rather like a knife or something sharp, like thorns, which is the lashon slav. There were 4 categories of slav. Eluim, sichli, kibli, pasyuni, uslav. These were like pheasants, different types of birds. Ma'ay the kula sichli. The best of all of them were sichli. The worst were slav. Vavi kitzi portum asvinin labetanurta. It's like a little bird, but when they put it in the oven, the top it was so fatty that it would swell up, filled up the whole oven. They would put the slav on 13 pieces of bread, and it soaked all the breads with shemen, even the bottom one, that you have to eat. That bread was eaten as a taruvis with shemen as well. So a very fatty bird. Rav Yudah mishtakach le beidami. He would find these slav by his barrels of wine. Rav Chisda mishtachach le beitzivi. Rav Chisda would find them by his wood, where he gathered his wood. Rav Maisle Arise Kol Yuma. Rav was somebody who worked his land and received a certain percentage of the crop. He would find it he would bring it to Rava every day from the field. Yom Echad Lo Yasi, one day didn't come. Amar Mai Hai, why did you come? Salik Igra. Went up to the roof to think about it. Shamali Yanuka de Gomer Shamati Vatir Gazbit. He heard a child, it's quoting a pasuk in Chavakuk. He was like hearing his stomach growl. It was a simon that Rav Chisda passed away. So, and he was, I guess, only royal Slav because of Rav Chisda. Because of Rav Chisda the Rav, the Talmud Rava ate. As long as Rav Chisda was alive, it was through his chus that this sharecropper would bring him Slav. Ksiv atal shikvas atal. It was like a sandwich. Tal milmala, the tal milmata, the domin kamashimana bakusa. This is the mun. It was like a sandwich. There was dew below the mun, it was dew on top of the mun, and the mun was in the middle. Like in a box. Dak mechuspas. It was thin, mechuspas, amish lakish. Davar shenimoch al pisa sayat. It would melt in your hand. It was very soft and melty. The man would be absorbed by the 248 limbs that a person has. Mechuspas, I understand. Mechuspas, if you calculate it, it's more than Remachev Arav. It's two Vahab. It's more than 248. And for the Gemara, Mechuspas, see, without the Vav. And then it's exactly 248. The man is lechem abirim, lechem shamaloche asher soichen asadim b'kiva. The man is like what the malachim eat. What do you mean? Tzuvim lo lakiva, kiva ta'ita. The malachim don't eat. Lechem lo achal, the mayim lo shasis. Says when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Shemayim, he didn't eat bread, didn't eat water. Elamanim ekayim abirim, lechem shenivl b'masayim b'rabim u'shmonei vorim. It's bread that was so nourishing that every limb in the body was nourished by it. Well, meaning there was no waste product. Everything the whole body absorbed it. Well, if there was no waste, you have to prepare a bathroom outside the machaneh. So, but if you ate man and there was no waste, why did they have to have this din? So, yeah, as the Jewish people wandered around in the desert, there were merchants that were selling them things to eat, and they didn't just eat man; they ate other things. The other things made waste, and they needed bathrooms. So, he says, even that which they ate from the goyim in the midbar, the man caused it to be absorbed. So we're back to the question: what about the bathroom? Yeah, this was all before the Egel. After the Egel Azov, there's going to be Misa. You're not going to be like Malach Hasharis. Now I'm going to make you travel 3 parsots for the bathroom. To see, basically Yeshimos Adeval Hashiku. I saw this. It was 3 parsa. The Tana Kishaniftin and Niftin Loliftem Loliftem Elachmen. When they had to go to the bathroom, they had to walk to the back of the camp. They didn't go to the bathroom to where they were about to walk or on the sides. They went to the back and they had to walk 3 parses because the size of the camp was 3 parses. Some of their complaints was Va'atam Nafshenu Yiveshan in Kol. Now, with what we're eating, the man, our nefesh is dry. Amru Osi Man Zesha Tipech B'Meyayim. The man is going to swell up in their bellies. And there's going to be they're going to have an illness. A human being cannot take in and not excrete something. That's his pshat. You don't have to excrete. This food was absorbed by all of our limbs and didn't make waste. Why did they have to go to the bathroom? Things that they bought from overseas. Again, like the goyim sold them. This we'll learn tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll learn at 8:30 a.m.
Ernie. Davening is only at 7:30 tomorrow. I'm not sure if we'll be finished by 7:30. Yeah, we'll be finished by 8:30. Okay. Davening is 7:30 in case you want to know what time.
Okay.
And the fast begins at 4:12.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, we'll see. And then the Novi Shir is tomorrow night at
8
8 o'clock. Now we're still going to be
How can
fasting.
it be 8 o'clock? Come on, man. The fast is only out at 9 o'clock. Seriously.
That's
Seriously.
true.
You can't have the Navish here.
That's going to be a problem.
How are you going to have it?
Okay. So we'll have to postpone it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we postponed it last week. Okay, we'll
Right.
postpone it.